Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it, and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing one of the most nuanced and memorable of the dress watches from the Terry Nataf era. This watch is large. It was the spirit of the time. It was the thing not just at Zenith but industry-wide during the mid-2000s. But this watch combines the size and stance of the 2000s with the details of dial, case, and lug that were originally created for 1990s Chronomaster flagship references. So this is an interesting watch with one lug, I should say, within each of those worlds. On my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that the Chronomaster XXT Grande is exceptionally large, 45 millimeters in diameter. Lug to lug, the watch spans 53.5 millimeters, though it is not terribly thick, 14.4 with a triple stepped Gadron style bezel that will slide underneath the cuff. The spacing between the lugs, 22 millimeters. The watch has a broad stance on the wrist. It does look like a modern timepiece. Now getting a little bit closer, you can see the watch in greater detail. I would say that realistically this watch is crying out for a wrist of at least 17 centimeters circumference. I can wear it securely, but I do feel like there's a little bit of lug overlap at the periphery that makes this watch sit a little bit less than an aesthetic match on my wrist. It's physically secure. I think aesthetically it does want a bigger wrist, but that's good because a lot of the older Chronomaster references are quite small, and this is one for the bigger tree trunk forearms watching the channel. You can see that the strap is a substantial piece to match a substantial watch. Zooming in real close, appreciate the fact that we have a sort of burgundy semi-gloss alligator leather, large rectangular scale, very high-grade stuff, generously bolstered. It's quite thick. You can see there's a sheer edge showing the layers of construction, a monotone stitch, and then on the underside we have a Camille Fournet aftermarket strap, and Camille Fournet makes the OEM factory straps for most Richemont brands, including, for example, Jaeger-LeCoultre, and this is very much like you would get on a Zenith factory piece. In fact, I think Camille Fournet might be the OEM supplier of the straps for Zenith. So it's vulcanized rubber on the underside, very supple against the wrist. It also separates the leather from the moisture of the wrist, the oils of the wrist. It keeps the leather young. You'll also appreciate the fact that Zenith was giving you bomber deployant clasps back then. This is a double fold deployant, and there is a lot of metal here, and that's a good thing because it's 18 karat red gold to match the case. Double deployant, so it's not going to pinch a small wrist. Appreciate the quality of the detailing, the engraved Zenith logo, the high polish of every interior facet of this buckle, the double layer of the buckle itself, and the fluting at the periphery of the buckle that nicely matches the fluting at the periphery of the lugs. There's handsome design parallelism. Also appreciate the fact that the case has a ton of strength. Give us just a bit more ISO here because I feel like we don't have enough light at the moment. Now you can see the details of the case quite well. The fluting of the bezel and the lugs gives this watch immense visual punch, and it is not a thick watch. It's a broad and elegant watch. The aspect ratio of this watch is nicely balanced, so it takes a 14.4 millimeter thickness and it winds up looking almost graceful and waifish on the wrist. You just need the wrist for it. You can see the dial is beautifully detailed, and it has a lot in common with the Patek Philippe 5070 in that both watches used dial details and concentric tracks of detailing to disguise the disparity between case size and the movement. So you can see the registers are close coupled at the center. There are inboard stamped guilloche radiating, undulating plumes that burst out from the pinions. Then you can see outboard there is a metallic brushing or concentric circular brushing. There's a cross hatching. There's more brushing underneath the applique rose gold Roman numerals. Note the watchmaker's 4. And then outboard you can see there's a dimple track for the seconds. There's a tachymeter scale for gauging the speed of an object over a fixed course. And then you can see that there is a mirror polished inner bezel that creates a reflectivity that makes the watch look larger internally. Now you can also see that that dimple style track is sort of reflecting in the edge of the bezel, making it look like there are two dimple tracks. You'll also appreciate from an angle just how rich this crystal is. It's box-shaped on its profile and then domed over its center. Expensive. You can also see that the hands at center are half-frosted Dauphine in red gold, and they're half-frosted and faceted to increase the contrast. At 6 o'clock there is a Grande Dot, the namesake of the watch, and it features You got to pull the crown out all the way because this is an El Primero. It's quirky about its quickset. It features a quickset There is a column wheel lateral clutch El Primero chronograph. You can see the smooth sweep of that seconds hand. You can feel and hear the column wheel. It's very crisp. The El Primero is the industry standard for crisp column wheel pusher feel. You'll also appreciate that smooth sweep, the 10 beat per second El Primero caliber. And on the back, you can see 31 joules, automatic winding, 30 meters water resistant, 52-hour power reserve, 10 beats per second, El Primero 410. You can see the lateral clutch moving away from and into contact. When you move it away, you can reset. There are the recentering hammers falling on the hard cams at center. It's a nicely executed movement. You can see both polished and blued screws. One is used for adjustment of the mechanism, one is used for physical assembly. The distinction between the two is there for your watchmaker. You can see a guilloche cut, solid gold winding mass, and no expense spared, 22 karat, not 21, 18, or tungsten. A handsome circular graining, or I should say straight brushed graining, across the levers of the chronograph system, and then there is a circular engine turned perlage across the bridges. This is the Zenith El Primero Chronomaster XXT Grande, 45mm in red gold, one of the best of the 2000s. Make it yours on the Watchbox.